Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? Big mahalo for checking this out. I'm at the Blasidell Concert Hall, and you heard him on the phone with me the other day. It's Kevin Cronin, the voice of REO Speedwagon. Thank you very much for this.
My pleasure to be here, Dave. Nice to be in the islands.
How did Thanksgiving go here?
We had a blast, man. We had the whole band, all the family members. Everyone brought their wife and kids along, the whole crew. So we had about 60 people, and it was great. This is our second family out here on the road. So to spend Thanksgiving with the whole organization, it was really great.
And that's the vibe, really, that you gave on the phone, too. You just sounded like the sweetest guy. I wanted to get a little bit into your past. How did music first become a part of your life? You're this multi-instrumentalist. We appreciate these gifts that you have. Was it the singing, the piano, the guitar? Where did it start?
It's all I've ever known, really. My earliest memory of life was sitting on the piano bench at my grandma's house, probably about 2 years old, and I didn't know how to play the piano, of course, at all. I still don't, but I was sitting there beating on it, and I had some kind of natural rhythm, so people didn't know any better, so they actually thought I was playing. They'd put a record on, and I would play along, and just because I was playing in the same rhythm as the record, they thought I knew what I was doing. And I just remember as a little infant, people applauding and smiling and patting me on the head when for playing the piano, and I think I was hooked right then.
And then where did the guitar come into it?
Just started taking guitar lessons when I was about 10 or 11, and didn't really know why. And then one night I was watching the Ed Sullivan Show, as was everybody else on Earth on that particular night, and the Beatles came on, and it was just like my jaw dropped, and suddenly I knew what I was meant to do in life. 'Cause, up until then, it was the music was kind of fragmented. There were the songwriters at the Brill Building, there were singing groups like the Four Seasons and groups like that, and then there were musicians who were the backup players. But the Beatles came on and they did it all. They sang, they played their instruments, and they wrote songs, and that's kind of what I had been doing. And I was like, oh, and of course the girls screamed when they played.
Yeah, that's a good incentive too.
So I just hit puberty, man. I was like prime time, and I really consider myself so lucky to have the Beatles as the most popular band when I was in junior high, because whatever, my daughter was in junior high a couple of years ago, and the most popular band in the world was the Jonas Brothers. Not to take anything away from the Jonas Brothers, they're a great young band, but for me, that band was the Beatles. So they were the most popular band in the world. They were also a band that will go down in the history of music as one of the greatest groups ever. So, I consider myself having been born at exactly the right time to have ended up where I am.
So I can see the piano and sitting there in your grandmom's place, and then I see the Ed Sullivan Show that's the guitar. Had the vocals already been established by then as something that you had prowess on?
Well, not really. I was, but I was interested in singing a little bit, but that was never really my thing. In fact, I was never the lead singer in any of the bands I was in as a kid. I was always more of a harmony singer. The bands I was in had more in common with bands like Buffalo Springfield, and where it was more of an ensemble singing thing. And when I joined REO Speedwagon and they wanted me to be the lead singer, it was like, really? Sure about that? I've never done this before, guys. And I was never a great singer, but I could always sing my own songs pretty well. So I think, as singers go, I'm a pretty good songwriter. Is kind of the way it goes for me. But so that just came with writing songs and wanting to, songwriting being, being brought up Irish Catholic. Everything's all pent up. The Irish are taught to be seen and not heard, and so all that pent up energy that I had kind of came out through my songwriting, and so I kind of owe it all to my Irish Catholic upbringing.
That's a good credit for that. Was it when I think about the first few REO records and the fact that they went through, it was like 3 different singers. You were the third singer. I mean, what was it that caused you to leave and then come back, if you can kind of encapsulate how it was that then you stuck?
Yeah. Well, we were, I was a kind of more of a folky, I kind of came out of the Chicago folk music scene. And so, my favorite bands were the Hollies and the Byrds and and REO Speedwagon at that time was strictly, they were more like Deep Purple, The Doors. They were really into more the lead singer as more of a there wasn't much harmony singing. Songwriting was not really the thing. It was more the riff and the power. And so it just got to the point where we just were too young and I thought I knew all the answers and the band thought they knew all the answers, and we didn't really have a good sense of how to try to meld it together and how to take the best of both of the things we were doing. So we kind of self-destructed. But then after their career kind of stalled without me and my solo career didn't exactly blossom, we kind of took another look at it, and I think it took breaking up for us to go, all right, I guess we need each other.
Right, to realize you needed each other.
Yeah, and no one wants to think they need someone else, so, that's, when I wrote Keep on Loving You, I was just sitting there in the rehearsal hall playing on the piano, and no one really liked it very much, and because it sounded too soft to everybody. And so one day, Rich Rath plugged in an electric guitar into a stack of Marshall amps and started playing along. I think just to drown me out, and figured if he just played loud and nasty enough that I'd finally stop, I'd finally give up. But when I heard that, I was like, dude, that's exactly what I've been looking for. Let me take my little folk songs, you guys crank it up and turn it into power, and then suddenly we kind of stumbled into the power ballad backwards, and so that was the happy accident that kind of gave the band the identity that it had been looking for.
Right. And the sound, and that's a great explanation of the origins of this poppy yet crunchy sound. I like the way that you sort of bring that together. Flashing forward a few years, because the time is sensitive with Kevin, so we got to do the best of Kevin's stories here. I've been curious as I was studying up about you. This Live Aid show where I was a little kid and I watched it, but I don't remember all the details. It was like you got to jam with some Beach Boys members and even family members of REO Speedwagon. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Live Aid was amazing, man, and not only that, but it was as if it wasn't a high enough pressure gig just in and of itself. We had a CNN news crew that was following us ever since we got to Philadelphia. So I was a nervous wreck by the time we got to the stage. But yeah, we got up there. I think we played at about 11 o'clock in the morning. We had, I think Black Sabbath played right before us or something.
They were like 10 something. That's right.
Yeah, it was nuts. But yeah, when we played, we had a couple of guys from the Beach Boys. Paul Schaefer was singing backgrounds. Some of our kids. It was a free for all. It was nuts, but it was really fun.
Do you, as I mentioned that, are there other gigs that sort of eclipse that, or would you call that a pinnacle gig? Are there other things like that come to mind? And go, well, actually, Dave, this one would be even hotter.
Well, that was pretty amazing to be included in that. Was a great feeling. But we had done back-to-back gigs at the Houston Astrodome and New Orleans Superdome, on a Monday and Tuesday night.
That felt pretty good.
That was pretty good. Sold out shows. I don't know how we pulled it off production-wise, but we've pretty much we headlined Madison Square Garden, which was when I was a kid, I didn't even know what Madison Square Garden was, but I remember telling my mom, someday I'm going to headline Madison Square Garden, and when I do, you and Dad are going to be there. I didn't even know what it was, and then sure enough, in 1981, we actually did headline Madison Square Garden, and my mom and dad flew out for the gig. That was pretty cool.
That is an awesome memory. So they were there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there, as I wrap it up with you, is there an artist, a person, something that's left that still gnaws at you as a project that you'd like to consider? Maybe there's a hero that has inspired you musically that you would like to work with. Maybe it's just a place or a style of gig. Is there something left on your plate that we can point to now and later be like, yeah, I remember when Kevin was telling me that?
Well, I've been very fortunate. One of the things I always wanted to do was to write with Stephen Stills, who was a huge influence on me, and one of the most underrated guitar players, singer-songwriters. And I ended up getting to do that. I actually met Stephen, and we wrote a song together that was on a Crosby, Stills and Nash album. So that was pretty cool. But I've always liked country music. And so I've been going down to Nashville for the past year or so, just writing some songs down there. And so I'd love to, I'd love to hear Keith Urban sing one of my songs, if you want to know the truth. And in fact, I met Keith last year and, talked to him for a while. And the last thing I said to him as I'm walking away, I go, Keith, one of these days, dude, you got to sing one of my songs. And then there was actually a YouTube video of him sitting there at the piano playing Keep on Loving You, but that wasn't exactly what I meant. I'd love to hear him, write a song for him and have Keith do it.
And you guys do it together.
Oh, that'd be even better. But he's quite an amazing singer, guitar player. That'd be kind of cool.
I like that, crossing other bridges and stuff. Hey, dude, I really appreciate you taking time today. I know you got a busy schedule and you're going to play soon. It means a lot that you would talk to us. I work at the public radio station, and it's not big commercial enterprise. So the fact that you would take time to do this, I just want you to know I appreciate it. It means a lot.
You're welcome, Dave. We are big. We contribute to the NPR and to public television. It's something that has to be supported, and we need it in this world. So I'm here for you anytime. I appreciate you, lending your talents to NPR. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. Was this an okay interview?
Yeah, it was awesome. Are you kidding me?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.